After graduating from law school, Mark secured a solid position as an office clerk at a law firm in Vancouver. He packed up his belongings in Kamloops and said farewell to his girlfriend. I'm really gonna miss you. Don't worry, it won't be long. Once I get settled, you can come and join me. With some savings in hand, he traveled to Vancouver and checked into a motel where he began working at the law firm and searching for a place to rent. The weather was damp, and every now and then, the rain would pour down. Mark walked around the neighborhood, umbrella in hand, desperately searching for rent signs. When he returned, he constantly checked the ads in the newspaper. 2 days into his search, he found a suitable offer: a room for rent in a single-story house in the West End. It was quite a distance from the law firm, but it was affordable and reasonable for him at the moment. The house was located on a quiet road, just a 5-minute walk from miles of forest leading to Lost Lagoon. Without much hesitation, Mark accepted the offer from a young woman who lived there. Her name was Valencia. Mark was surprised to see how young she was. Probably wasn't even 21. She didn't talk much, and there was a strange, blank expression on her face the whole time she showed him around. It was a 2-bedroom house. She lived in one, and he would live in the other. Do you live here alone? This is my parents' house. They're no longer here. They passed away 3 years ago. I'm so sorry for your loss. Don't be. Right. I work at the BII law firm. May I ask what you do? I work from home as an online customer service representative. I see. I think I'll take the room. I should inform you. There is an issue with the power in this area. Sometimes it goes out for hours at a time. It's all right. I think we can manage. Here is the lease. The rent is $800. Thank you. I'll be bringing in my things tomorrow morning. Without a word or a goodbye, Valencia closed the door. The following day, Mark settled the motel bill, gathered his things, and moved in. Now that his immediate worries were behind him, he began focusing on his work. You look fresh and happy. Have you found a new place? Yeah, it's near the lakeside, in the West End. You rented in that area? You're aware what's next to it, right? Yeah, I know, but honestly, I was running low on savings and I don't have much of a choice right now. Well, just letting you know, not a lot of people live in that area. It's pretty secluded. I'm alright. I'm not alone, I have a roommate. It's a young woman. It had been about 3 days since Mark moved in. But Valencia hadn't spoken another word to him. She spent most of her days inside her room. The only times she came out were to use the bathroom or to grab food. It seemed the lights in her room were always off. She worked by the dim glow of a lamp that barely illuminated her space while using her laptop. Sometimes, Mark ventured out to the backyard behind the house. What is that smell? The weather was perpetually gloomy. He hadn't had a hint of sunshine in all these days. Unable to bear the smell, Mark went back inside. But the smell seemed to linger in the hallway. He tried putting perfume, but it didn't help much. The next night, as Mark was serving himself pizza in the kitchen, he noticed Valencia step in with cup noodles in her hand. She glanced at him from the corner of her eye and hurried to prepare her meal. "I ordered pizza. Would you like to share?" "No, thank you." She simply poured hot water in her noodles, grabbed a fork, and retreated into the darkness of her room. Why was she so quiet? Maybe she was lonely. After all, she has been living by herself since her teens. What was that strange smell yesterday? What smell? I didn't get any smell. Oh, okay. The rest of the week passed, and Mark went about his business. Every now and then, Mark got that strange smell in the house. When it came so strong that he could never locate it or figure what it was. But Mark couldn't shake his curiosity about Valencia. Did she ever leave the house? He went about his routine, taking out the garbage, doing his laundry, cleaning up. But all he ever saw Valencia do was come out at odd hours to prepare the same cup of noodles. The only time he actually saw her go out was when she returned an hour later, with a tray of cup noodles that probably lasted her a month. He finally decided to call Valencia. After a while, Valencia barely cracked her door open and looked at him. "I'm sorry to disturb you, but does the ceiling in the hallway always leak when it rains?" "Yes." "Is there a plumber or handyman around here who can fix the issue?" "No." Without much more to say, Valencia slipped back into the darkness of... Mark glanced at the leak and sighed before returning to his own space. That's when he suddenly received a call from his girlfriend. "Hey, how's everything going? I got that room I was telling you about. I moved in with her." "So you're living with another girl?" "Believe me, you have nothing to be jealous, Diana. She's a bit strange, rarely leaves her room, always working on her laptop and eating noodles." "Show me." So Mark waited out until the next time Valencia slipped out of her room for her bathroom break and secretly took a picture. Alright, fine. She is a little weird, but stay away from her anyway. And what have you been eating? When can I come? Sweetheart, just a little longer. I can't bring you here yet. This house is old, and the ceiling has been leaking since morning. Let me find a better place. Much of the day passed quietly. There was no sign of the rain letting up anytime soon. In fact, it only grew stronger. In the early evening, Mark was startled by a surprising loud roar of thunder outside. And suddenly, the power in the house went out. The entire house was now engulfed in darkness. Mark patted the walls as he stepped out. He heard Valencia's door creak open. Valencia? Yes. She emerged from her room holding a few candles and handed him one. The electricity should be back within a few hours. With her usual expressionless demeanor, Valencia moved around the house, placing a candle in the hallway and another in the kitchen before returning to her room. Mark decided to step out into the patio for a moment to catch a breath from the damp air. He sat down by the stairs, and after a while, he began to hear footsteps. He turned to see Valencia emerge with a lamp and a pair of keys. The weather is quite nice tonight. It is. Mark had noticed a small room on the patio before, but he had never wondered what it was about. Mark got up as he watched her open the door to an indoor garden. He placed the lamp on a shelf and began watering the plants. Mark had never seen flowers and plants like these before. They seemed exotic. So, you garden? Yes. But why indoors when you have such a big backyard? These plants are from Asia. I had them specially imported along with the soil. They can only thrive in a specific environment. Is that where the smell comes from? Watching her quietly water the plants, Mark asked. Do you ever feel lonely, always staying in your room? I never see you go out. When you're alone, you have no fear of losing anyone. The electricity returned around 10 that night. Mark had his dinner and went to bed. Late into the night, he woke up to use the bathroom. All the lights in the house were off, and he didn't bother turning them on. Just as he was about to enter the bathroom, he heard Valencia's door open. He could make out her figure as she walked out and left the house. Where is she going in the middle of the night? In a neighborhood like this? Mark was intently curious about Valencia. He couldn't approach her, and even if he did, he doubted she would open up. Over the next few nights, he noticed her leaving the house at the same time each night. On the third night, he decided to follow her. It was 1 a.m., and there wasn't many street lamps in the area. Without a flashlight or a lamp, Valencia simply walked out into the rain as if she didn't even notice it. She turned the corner toward the lagoon and started down the forest path. How was she navigating in this darkness? With great difficulty, Mark stepped through the mud and followed her until she stopped at a turn as his eyes adjusted to the darkness. He noticed she stood in front of a rusted metal gate. As she stepped inside, Mark hurried over. It was the back entrance to the old cemetery. No wonder no one liked coming here. She was just wandering around. Mark stepped inside, listening to the crunch of twigs underfoot and the rain falling on the hundreds of tombstones. Catching sight of Valencia again, he walked in her direction when she suddenly stopped. Mark stepped back, hiding behind one of the trees, while still watching her. She walked into a row of graves and sat down in front of a tombstone. She comes here to visit her parents' grave? To mourn? But after a while, Mark froze as he heard a peculiar laughter echoing in the air. A chill ran down his spine as he stared at Valencia, who was embracing the tombstone and laughing loudly. She got mad? Or has she always been this way? Frightened by what he had seen, Mark ran out of the cemetery and back to the house. He took his wet shoes and clothes inside his room, placing them there carefully. He didn't want Valencia to know he had followed her. As he lay in bed that night, listening to the rain still pouring heavily outside, he wondered what he had really witnessed. Why had she been laughing there? Why was she behaving so strangely? The next morning, Mark woke up to a silent house. As he walked past Valencia's room, it seemed eerily quiet. Valencia? There was no answer. He knocked on her door before slowly opening it. The room was empty. Valencia wasn't in the house. Had she not returned last night? A sense of concern washed over him, and he decided to go back to the cemetery in search of her. When he arrived, he saw a few cemetery workers gathered around a body. He was shocked and grief-stricken to see that it was Valencia. How did this happen? We don't know. We came to work this morning and found her laying lifeless in the mud. Her name is Valencia Kudrow. She used to live nearby. Who are you? I'm her tenant. We were roommates. How did you know she would be here? When I saw she wasn't home, I had a feeling she might come here to mourn for her parents. But her parents' grave is not in this cemetery. What? After her parents passed away, she lived with her boyfriend. When he passed away as well, he was buried here. She must have come to his grave. As the sexton arranged for the burial, only Mark and a few members of the cemetery were present at her funeral. It was late in the evening when Mark returned to the house. Feeling a bit depressed, he sat in his room with a heavy heart. She had lost her parents, then her boyfriend, and now she is gone. Does she not have any relatives who would know about her death? What am I going to do now with this whole house? Mark wandered over to her now empty room. He felt he should check it out. There might be something inside, at least some phone numbers for people who knew her. Mark stepped inside and tried to turn on the lights, only to realize there was no power in her room. He made out her table in the darkness and switched on the dim lamp. Valencia didn't have much in her drawers or her bag, but he decided to open her laptop. She spent a lot of time on this. The account, however, was secured with the password. Mark tried guessing it. He entered her name, her date of birth, but nothing seemed to work. What could be her password? After numerous attempts, some strange reason, he typed in loneliness. At once, the account unlocked. Inside, he found files filled with pictures of Valencia with her parents, as well as some with her boyfriend. Saved on her desktop was a book she had recently purchased. The title caught his eye: The Resurrection. How to bring people back from the dead. Mark was intrigued by the book, but the more he read the passages and rituals, more strange fear settled in his chest. Her parents, her boyfriend, she had been left all alone. She visited his grave that night, laughing. Was she trying to bring them back to life? As night fell into pitch darkness, the rain intensified. Lightning flashed across the sky. Suddenly, the electricity went out. That smell, again.
Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.